Friday in the books at Wimbledon, and I want to throw some thoughts out there. Update you on where I stand, where I'm at on some of the action we've seen over the last couple of days. And in this particular video, I am too lazy to transition verbally, especially because there are so many things I want to get to that a simple ding sound effect is going to indicate when I am ready to change topics. It does kind of feel like there's been a little bit of a lull at the tournament in the last couple of days. There are no matches that I think I consider to be extremely memorable. Isner Norrie was kind of fun. Swiatek got in a little bit of a jam. She dropped a set. That was interesting. De Minaur Draper was a fantastic quality and a fantastic match to watch. But I do feel like after the first couple days at Wimbledon, where we had top contenders, FAA and Hurkacz going out, and the COVID positives and the return of Serena, it does seem like things have settled down. And I'm sure they will pick back up shortly. The order of play looking pretty juicy tomorrow on Saturday. Survival is success for Nadal in week one. I've tweeted this. I've said this on 3, but I want to reiterate it here. It was ugly against Berankis. The forehand was horrendous by Rafa Nadal's standards. But the key is that he survives this early stretch, these first couple matches, which I don't know if the struggles are behind him. We'll have to see tomorrow when he plays Lorenzo Sonego. But the key is that he's able to survive and advance until he gets more comfortable and picks up his form. That's what I think this is going to look like, because there are really a lot of reasons when you think about it that make sense when it comes to why Rafa wouldn't be able to hit the ground running at this year's Wimbledon, from not playing on a grass court for 3 years, from 2019 until now, to being on crutches for a short period of time, instead of being able to go right from Roland Garros to training on the grass. After the foot ablation operation, he did lose some time. The third factor is his history at Wimbledon, being a little bit uncomfortable in the first couple of days with the slicker and lower bouncing version of these Wimbledon courts before they're played on more and they firm up and they get a little bit more favorable for Nadal. So, look, first 2 matches, not looking good. I think it'll get better. The key is winning. Djokovic, on the other hand, has been clinical, and he beat Miomir Kecmanovic in a highly undramatic match. Kecmanovic, the biggest push that he had was once he went down something like either 5-1 or 5-2 in the third set, and he picked up some momentum before Djokovic was able to close it out. I mean, he had nothing for Novak, and Kokkinakis had nothing for Novak as well. So the most difficult thing when it comes to Novak Djokovic is finding something interesting to say about his last 2 matches. Alcaraz has clicked. And I think it's fair to say at this point that he is extremely dangerous at Wimbledon after his performance over Oscar Otta. Look, we knew that the skills were there. There was no doubt that if Carlos was comfortable, then he was going to be great. With all of the things that work in his favor on grass based on his style and his skill set, it was just a matter of experience. And now that it looks like his feet are under him and there aren't any doubts, there's confidence, there is a good timing and a good kind of feel for how he needs to move out there, he looks fantastic. And I didn't think Oscar Otta played that bad today, and Alcaraz still made absolute mincemeat out of him. Isner became the ace leader today, the all-time ace leader. He passed Ivo Karlovic. It was very anticlimactic. You know, it was like John didn't react. I don't think anybody really at the venue knew. It was just meh. And it's kind of a reminder of how tennis is with all stats that don't involve, you know, wins and losses or titles. They just kind of take a back seat in this sport, and people don't really care about them. But I do think that Isner does have the greatest serve of all time. And this kind of cements that. You know, the greatest serve of all time should have the most aces of all time. That makes sense. Jannik Sinner, however, beat John Isner, and he played John extremely cleverly in this match. I thought that Sinner going to the body serve just took away everything that Isner wants to do on return, particularly attacking the second serve return, which is really how John breaks serve. And Sinner was just jamming him up over and over and over again, using that 7-foot wingspan against John Isner, and it was a very effective serving strategy from Sinner. I also think that we need to take notice at this point of how well Jannik has played these big servers. He has now beaten Isner twice in a row. He blew out Riley Opelka in their only meeting, in their only career meeting. He beat Nick Kyrgios last time they played in Washington. So you're starting to look at these results, and you're looking at Jannik Sinner against these big servers, and he is checking the box in these head-to-heads. So Jannik's return against these mega servers, that is something to certainly take notice of. So now we're going to get another Alcaraz-Sinner meeting. We saw it in Paris last year, where I felt like Alcaraz, his variety and his net play was the determining factor in a very close match against Jannik Sinner, where a couple of cat and mouse points in big moments swung things in Alcaraz's favor. But at this point, I still struggle to find areas where Sinner is clearly better than Carlos Alcaraz. In fact, I was looking back on an old video I did talking about Sinner and Alcaraz after that match was played, and there were certain things that I did assume that Sinner had the edge in, such as backhands, where I'm a lot less confident less than a year later, about 6 months later, 7 months later, I'm less confident that Sinner really does have a clear edge in that area, or even in serving, where Alcaraz has really impressed me with the adjustment he's made on grass, starting to really bomb his serve. So Alcaraz is, like, I checked the odds, a minus 225 favorite, and I think that's about right. Tsitsipas looked much better against Jordan Thompson 2 days ago. Thompson is a good grass court player. I thought Tsitsipas looked extremely confident and explosive from the baseline. With that being said, Jordan Thompson, as good a player he is on grass, is not a big server. Nick Kyrgios is, and Nick was very focused, very business-like in a straight set win over Filip Krajinovic. So both Tsitsipas and Kyrgios were on court at the same time, absolutely rolling. And it sets up this kind of blockbuster round 3 clash. But for Kyrgios, the things that stood out was that nothing pissed him off. He didn't waste any time, and he never lost focus. He completely crushed Filip Krajinovic. Look, I don't think Tsitsipas will be able to handle Nick's serve well enough to win tomorrow. You know, I don't think the return on grass is there against that level of a serve. There are a couple of other things to watch. Nick's cross-court backhand, it's flat. It stays very low. The fact that Tsitsipas doesn't have a slice, the fact, or not that he doesn't have, the fact that Tsitsipas struggles on the slice when the ball is low, how is he going to handle that cross-court backhand-to-backhand exchange? Because sometimes on the grass in the past, he's tried to hit over it. It's been difficult from a low contact point, or he's tried to slice, and it's not that the slice goes out, but it's attackable. And obviously, defending on that side is still a big thing to watch for when it comes to Tsitsipas on grass. However, you know, he focuses over the course of a best-of-5 set match, usually better than Nick. So who is going to make the mistakes or have the lapses? Can Kyrgios use his superior mobility and physicality to his advantage in baseline rallies? Maybe. At the end of the day, I think Nick's serve is going to be too good for Tsitsipas's return. Let's see what happens. Sock over Cressy over the course of 2 days. After Maxime Cressy upset Felix Auger-Aliassime, Jack Sock gets the better of him. This made sense to me. This made sense to me, this win. I felt like because of Sock's returning style, it was going to be hard for Cressy to serve volley against that, and it certainly was. A combination of Cressy not being able to control the double faults as well. He had far more double faults in this match than he did against Felix in the first round, and that's kind of a variance match to match that Cressy has to deal with. And Cressy double faulted too much, and certainly more than he did against Felix in this match. But the other thing was the fantastic returning from Jack Sock, where he has just a way of standing in tight on the baseline, which doesn't give Cressy time to close, and he has lightning quick hands, and that's what gives him the ability to do that. And not only does he have lightning quick hands, but he has very soft hands, and he just hit fantastic low biting returns. He was able to pass Cressy on his forehand return on multiple occasions, and he is a shot maker, and that certainly was helped him really enjoy this matchup against Cressy, where in order to break serve and in order to beat Maxime Cressy, you're going to have to be a shot maker. You're going to have to come up with some fantastic passing shots and some fantastic returns. Jack Sock really embraced that, enjoyed it, and he did it. And Cressy said he was going to retire on court before the match point. So that won't happen. Tommy Paul hasn't dropped a set yet. He's killing everybody. He's the only player to reach round 4 you can say that about. There are a couple of guys on the bottom half who have not dropped a set through 2 rounds, so we can see if they will join Tommy Paul in that group of players. But as far as the top half is concerned, it is Tommy Paul, and that's it. So good to see his newfound aggression, his newfound transition game that we saw in Stockholm, that has been a point of emphasis for him and his coach, Brad Stein. Makes sense that that is translating into some strong grass court play. Makes a lot of sense. Another player who will be very happy to reach round 4 is Cam Norrie, because he had never been past round 3 at a major. So well deserved. He is way too good a player for that to have taken so long. But it, bad draws, some tough performances. That's how the cookie crumbled. Similar to one Taylor Fritz, who is in the same predicament at the Australian Open this year, leaped over that round 3 hurdle, and it seemed to unlock something mentally and emotionally for him. It gave him a real boost. I don't know if that's going to happen for Cam Norrie, but it is something to think about, something to chew on, something to consider. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.